Hello and welcome to another episode of Friday with the Chakontas. I am Mr. Chakonta.
And I'm Mrs. Chakonta.
And yeah, we're back with our episode series of FWTC Reacts. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much to those who've been commenting. Thank you for subscribing and sharing. We really appreciate it. If it's your first time joining us today, please lay back and listen. And yes, feel free to give it a thumbs up if you like it, to subscribe if you like it, and to leave a comment if you just want to chat.
Yeah. And we're also on other platforms. Go listen to the other ones on other platforms on Spotify, Apple Music. I don't know if TikTok, are we?
Yes.
But just sneak bits and then mainly
Instagram,
yeah. But if you want the exclusive, YouTube,
it's here.
YouTube. So yeah, start with the YouTube ones.
All right.
So yeah.
So I've got a story for us.
Yeah.
And it goes like this. I am a lady aged 25, engaged to a man aged 33. We both work. We are supposed to get married next month. We have been engaged for 4 months. During our courtship, I made sure I asked right questions and gave out proper information, and I thought he told me everything. I was shocked to find out he has 3 children from 3 different women. Apparently, he engaged 2 of these women, but things didn't work out. I asked him if he has any children. He said no. I asked him why he never told me about this huge information. He said he didn't think it was important. How can one hide the children from a person he wants to marry and think it's not important? I am very disappointed with him. I don't even know where to start from. My family even took Chilangamlilo. People have put in so much into this wedding. I'm really devastated and heartbroken. How do I approach this situation I am in?
Yeah. So are they dating for 4 months, or is it they just been engaged for 4 months?
She says they've been engaged for 4 months.
So we assume that they've been in
Dating
a courtship for longer than that. Just to be honest, that is just on the guy's side. We can just have to say that
red flags.
It's not a red flag. It's blatantly lying.
Oh, okay.
That's blatantly lying, and somebody who's not disclosed some of the things to the point of where all these things are now being planned, and then now they have to disclose that, so it comes out as a manipulation. I don't know what it means. So what do you think?
You're looking at me. I'm saying it's red flags, baby. I mean, I get what you mean, that I'm using my red flag system, but I'm just like, how can he not think having children with 3 different women, forget the 3 different women, having children is important.
Yeah.
He's getting married and he basically saying he doesn't think it's important. He did not think it was important to inform you. I mean, what is important to be informed about if it is not this?
Yeah.
So if you are not going to inform me about something so key, and like you, but to be fair, I get what you mean when you say it's lying, because he did lie. She asked.
Yeah.
It might be, some people might be like, he didn't lie if you didn't ask, or, but she says she asked and he said no. So he blatantly lied, and he was willing to let you go ahead in a marriage where, thank God you got to find out the truth. And, as heartbreaking as it is and as difficult as it is, at least you got to find this out before you said I do.
Okay. So what is the problem here? Is it that he's got 3 children, or that he did not tell about the 3 children?
I think, well, the main issue is not tell. There's nothing wrong with having children. Well, there's nothing wrong with having children before you get married, in the sense of, like, if you have acknowledged, because there are different elements in where these children could have been brought into the world. So, but I think you're talking about him. There is a lot wrong with having, there is a lot, I don't even know what to say. It is already, raises a lot of question marks, I would say, if he has children with 3 different women. It does not suggest that he was married before and has children and maybe, a spouse has died and now he's getting into another relationship and now he has children. That's a different context.
Yeah.
The impression, although not blatantly stated, is that he was not married to these other. Oh no, she did actually say. I apologize. She said they were engaged.
Mm-hmm.
He was engaged to 2 of these women, so he was in a relationship with 2 women, and they got pregnant. That he had engaged, and then the other person, perhaps they were not engaged and they were just in a relationship. I think that's saying a lot about this gentleman already. And then he thought it was okay not to say.
Yeah.
Because mistakes happen.
Yeah.
But are you going to not own up to these mistakes? Because things happen. He could have been, a guy who used to, or maybe not. He just got into good relationships and somehow these, accidents happen, mistakes happen, and he's remorseful about it. My husband's looking at me like, what do you mean mistakes happen somehow? No, you don't intentionally intend to have sex and then you end up having sex and then you feel like, oh no, I really shouldn't have, but it's too late. She's now pregnant and you're now remorseful about it.
I don't agree. What do you mean you don't intend to have sex? There are certain things that you just know.
I think
that
I've just tried to be. I'm trying to sugarcoat it and be nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at the other side of the picture where I'm trying to say, sometimes things happen which you don't intend and you make a mistake. We all make mistakes, right? And then you own up to those mistakes.
We agree that those are mistakes, but I think.
But in this situation, I just don't think so.
That what?
I think it's just painting a bad picture on this guy.
Yeah, and I think I don't agree with the aspect of where you're saying some people. Okay, maybe they do make mistakes. What a mistake of weakness in that situation? Maybe I would say that.
Oh yes, okay.
But I think there are certain things where, like, for you to actually go through certain things, there's a lot of boundaries that you've overlooked to the point of where if that mistakes act had to happen, it means that your guard of just boundaries have just gone down. Your walls that are supposed to protect you have gone down. And I think also for a gentleman having 3 children, it says a lot, as you're saying. It says, okay, how can you have 3 children with 3 different women? And now the other question I have is, are those 3 children, what's his relationship with those 3 children?
Yeah, with the women.
With those women, has he owned up to them? And also on top of that, if he's now ready to get married, why aren't his family, we're looking at it from a Zambian context, when there are now families coming together, don't those things also, and those ironed out and those discussed? Isn't this something that is information that all families have to, or do you feel like the family feel like, oh, that's your own, that you have to have that conversation yourself?
I don't know in this case, but I do agree. I mean, because it says here that they took Chilangamlilo. So like Chilangamlilo is a tradition where so after a man has approached a woman's family to say he would like to marry her, the woman and has also paid some form of dowry. The woman's family will now honor the man and take a number of dishes to him as a form of saying, these are some of the dishes that you can expect in marriage to be prepared for you. The different sort of tribes, and different tribes sort of do it a bit differently, but the concept is very similar. And at the moment, there's quite a lot. Some people will take quite a huge variety of food, like it becomes a whole party. But other tribes or other people will take, a very small amount of food, and just basically. But the principle is saying it happens after that woman has, the woman has accepted the hand in marriage, like the man asking for her to be married. Traditionally, and then they honor this man by saying this is what you can expect in your marriage. So it's like a traditional form of marriage, like sort of accepting a marriage proposal and the marriage proposal has already taken place, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then, but usually, because a lot of people do the white wedding as well in Zambia, so this will usually take place first, and then later on, and it depends on when they decide. It could be a few days, it could be a few weeks, and months later, people have a white wedding.
Yeah.
So what Tumelo means is that before that, we expect that a family would have, when they came to when the man brought his representatives to say, I want to marry this woman, they would have had a discussion to say, this is the man. And at some point it could have or should have come out that he is.
But I don't think they
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do. And I think, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's probably something that we both need to look into.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they go into, because the whole purpose is to say, do you want to marry this man wants to marry you, do you want to marry him?
I think
and that's
there's
it.
an assumption of maybe the girl has done enough investigation for you to actually bring that man to actually come and invite him to ask for your hand in marriage.
Yeah, so there is, that's true actually.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that discussion has taken place.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. So let's just say the discussion never took place because she didn't know. We don't know how she came to know, but it suggests that she came to know after the Chilanga Mlilo. So after she's been proposed to and she said, yes, I will marry you.
Yeah.
Yeah, where were you going with that? Sorry.
The what? For what?
I forgot where we actually started from.
About how come this is not disclosed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I've also got a question about, maybe let me change the direction of the question. She said she asked the right questions during their courtship. Because I'm asking this issue, I'm seeing certain stories of where sometimes women feel as if they've asked the right questions, they've done the investigation as best as they can, and then they find something. So is it that she asked the right questions, or there's also this other side of where in the woman's mind, I'm just asking, this is a thought, in a woman's mind where like there's issue of, I need to get married so much that she's not, she's blind to some things, some signs, because her mind is always, I just want to get married. I just want to get married.
No, not necessarily actually. Yeah. And I don't think that's, it could be, it could not be, I think, but I wouldn't draw that assumption in this scenario.
Yeah.
I think what she's getting at is that she's saying, look, and we've spoken about this together. We've spoken about how you want to investigate as much as possible so you know what you're getting into. In your courtship season. That's the time to get to know each other. That's the time to ask questions. That's the time to find out what are your beliefs, what are your wishes. Do you want children? If you want children, how many children? If we didn't have children, for whatever reasons, how would you feel about that? If this and this happened, do you have any kids? Have you ever been married? Like, I feel like I think I kind of feel her. I feel for her because I feel like she did what it is that she could have done. I feel like she did well in a sense. What more is there to ask? Yeah. When you ask somebody, do you have any children? And they say no.
They say no, yeah.
There's no more. You can go deeper and say, are there any? It seems like these days you have to. Are there other people who claim that these are your children, but you have denied them?
Yeah.
It seems like, because that could be the scenario, saying these 3 different women said, I'm the father, but I know I'm not the father and I have refused responsibility. And so when you ask me, do I have children? The answer is no. So it's so unfortunate that we have to now go that deep. But if anything, this should have come up in the question, do you have any children? No. However, there are 3 different women who have put my name on their children's birth certificate, or there are 3 different children who these women have said are my children, but I do not believe they're my children because of A, B, C, D.
Okay.
So I think that I think that, there is an element, and I think it's one of those things which I also feel for us women and men in courtship, where we have followed the book. we have followed the advice from you Christian people, Ruth and Timelo, and we have followed you and we've asked all the questions, and as a result of all of that, we expect everything to be perfect. But unfortunately, human beings are not perfect, and even if you ask all the questions that you could possibly ask, there's still possible cracks. There's still possible things. That person can still lie to you. That person cannot tell you the truth, and therefore you get a different version. That person can pretend to be somebody who they are not, and once you get married, they change on you. And so you cannot guarantee everything from those questions, but I do believe that those questions help to filter out a lot, but they do not filter out everything, and they are not lie detectors either. But I do get your situation in which sometimes people can be caught out in where they are so fixated on getting married that perhaps they are listening, but they're also not looking. It is one thing listening to a question, to an answer, or listening to somebody say, I am kind, listening to somebody say, I am loving, listening to somebody say, I am generous, and also you've been courting him for 7 months, for a whole year. You've been courting her for a whole year, but they've never shown an act of generosity towards you, or you've never seen them act generously towards others in positions where you think they could have been, or you've never seen acts of kindness, or you feel like they're actually quite cold towards you. So sometimes the words that somebody says, you need to not just listen, but you also need to see. And I think sometimes, for a number of reasons, just one of them could be the pressure of wanting to get married, and that could be either a man or a woman. But I do understand when you say women, because I do feel that sometimes our biological clocks us to ring in our heads and start to tick some things in our heads, that we forget to look and observe, because you get a lot from observing a man or a woman and not just hearing.
Okay. Okay, as much as this story comes out in this particular way, let me give maybe a voice of reason on this situation. As much as she's looking at it and saying, I've been wronged, I have been lied to, and everything like that, I think that she's not seeing the good thing here. The good thing is that she's not gotten into marriage.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that, let's say, even from a believer side, let's say if she's a believer, all these things have been hidden from her. God has prevented her for her to now make that decision. Should I now go into marriage with this person after all this deceit? And that has not come to a point of now where you have to go through the legal processes of getting divorced and everything like that. But that has been revealed to you. We're not saying that if something like that had to happen and somebody had to get married, they'll have, we don't know how they would deal with that. But we're saying in this case, something has been revealed to you before you've actually gone and taken your vows, made a legal proclamation towards your friends and God and also the state. You haven't gone through that. And I think this revelation should be now an opportunity for you to actually sit down and say, I've gotten this information, and based on this information, how do I respond? If these informations were no for you, don't focus so much on how many people have invested. Don't focus so much on the aspect of we've already gone through the processes and everything like that. Those processes were preparing you, but something has come to light. And because if that something has come to light, if you cannot accept it and you cannot move on, and you cannot move on together, the best thing is basically taking yourself out of this position. There's not, an engagement is not binding. And I think the good example we actually see is the example of Joseph and Mary. We see that they were engaged, but then a situation came where Mary gets pregnant from the Holy Spirit. And then he's like, okay, I have to put her aside secretly because that's not my child. A situation has arisen. And because of that, until the angel of God came and told him who that child was, and who that child was a savior, and her conception was not because of her being unfaithful or her doing anything else. This was something, a work of God. Until that, then he actually accepted and went forward with it. So we've seen also in scenarios of where a preparation has been made, even from a biblical context, but there are parameters of where you can say, no, we have to stop this process. And I think the best way now to do is go and talk to the people who were negotiating and everything like that, because I think this is now another problem we have. I need to ask this. So does that mean that, let's say the guy has paid the bride price?
Yeah.
So does that mean that now, because of this situation, because this is now the problem I have, because now people have spent the bride price.
Yeah,
we can't give it back.
Yeah.
Now they're saying, you just marry him. What do you think about that?
No, that's completely wrong. I mean, I understand why it's difficult.
Let me ask another question. Do you think that because he's lied, should he forfeit that bride price?
Oh yeah, he better do. But I don't know if he's going to. And but to be honest, I do think I don't know what she should do. But if it was me, I'm sorry. Forget. I can bill you the remainder. But if I use some of that for the chingangamlilo, you ate it. So that's just me. I'll let you. I'll remove, basically. If you're trying to make it difficult, I'll be like, the chilangamlilo cost this much. Here's the remainder. Because what I don't want in future is for somebody to start coming and saying, oh, I paid. Because some men become big-headed and they start saying, oh, I paid for you. She kept my money. And it's like, no.
No, because by definition, we understand. Regardless if you've used it for chilangamlilo, okay, I understand that. But the issue is that money was not best for chilangamlilo.
Yes.
So the honest thing is just give it back.
Yeah, but if I'm saying I agree with what you're saying in terms of no, because you said, should he forfeit? And I said, ideally he should.
I think he should.
But I think knowing how some men can be and how people can be, I don't want problems, but at the same time, I'm not gonna allow your deceit to make me broke either. Because the reason I now should be taking money from, because generally most of the time, once the bride price has been paid, a lot of people use that to kind of help the rest, the engagements that are coming. Some of it will be used to share amongst the family, but the majority of it ends up being spent on the engagements that are due to occur. And a chilangamlilo is an engagement that benefits the man. So you cook a lot of food to send to the man's home. And yes, you could have gotten that from family, you could have gotten that from your savings, but as I said, a lot of people use that money from the bride price towards that. So I am not you ate the chilangamlilo with your family in lies. So now you want me to use, no, here is your change. That's what I would say, to be honest. But the reason I would say that is because I don't want somebody, because I know I could do that with a clear conscience. I'm not giving this as an advice because I don't know what the advice would be. But I'm just putting myself in those shoes and saying I would do a subtraction and give you back what's left. And the only reason I'm giving you back what's left is because I don't want to hear people coming and saying you paid for me and I'm your wife, and I'm just like, no, here's the remainder of the money, the rest of it you ate at the chilangamlilo.
I agree with you, but I disagree. Just give the money back if that's the situation. If you want to take yourself out of the situation, but I also understand, just out of courtesy. This is why sometimes, because there's no law on this. Yeah. There's no whatever. So out of courtesy, you've wasted somebody's time. So just forget about that.
Yeah,
but you know that some people will be difficult. And I think just because you're basically saying no, it doesn't mean now because you've paid a bride price, that means that you own me or something like that. But traditionally, that's what it means. That's what we're trying to say.
Wow.
So that's why I'm saying traditionally, the best thing is just basically say, we'll give it back. And I think sometimes you also now need to also look at it from the long side. a decision you've made, it's like you've made an investment. An investment that you make, sometimes investments go good and bad. So you as a woman, you're saying, I made an investment with my time on somebody who's useless. I'd rather pay back the thing and leave me alone. I can start again.
Yeah,
Money
I
is
think
something
it's
money is something that we can always make money as long as we've body able and everything like that. Let's not focus so much on disputes on money or so much. That's my point of view. My point of view. No, don't force so much on these disputes. For me, just to wash my hands off this situation. I don't want. I start a new life and then he comes. You guys owe me my bride price, the one you haven't given back to me when I've started a new life. I just want to wash my hands off this situation and start the process of healing and moving away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's up to the individual, but yes,
I think so.
would
Yeah,
say,
it's up to the individual. Yeah.
I agree with you on the part where I know it's very disappointing. You know how much time goes into wedding preps, but it's better. There's a lot more time you would lose in a marriage that starts off with dishonesty, and from the look of the way it's written, suggests that this man is not remorseful either. It's not like, oh, I'm really sorry, I should have told you, please forgive me. But even if he said, I am really sorry, please forgive me, but there's still a really important element which he has not said, which for me, I'm just like, girl, you need to detach. You really need to detach. Like, this is not a time for you to make a decision and say, fine, I'll get married, we'll sort it out. Like, but I'm not even saying that, for me, I would want to say completely, because the part which he is key for me is where he says it was not important.
Yeah.
Like, how is that not important? You can say it's better you just say I am sorry, I lied, than for you to if a man you're going into a marriage with tells you that he has children with 3 different women and he thought that was not important to tell you. That has explained everything for you. There are bigger problems in marriage. That does not sound like a man I would want to be going into marriage with. That is the simplest thing. And if you're struggling to think about it, you don't need to make a decision today. If your wedding is set in 4 months, you can just cancel, take time out to think. Because sometimes people are like, I love him, he's apologetic. You need time to think. Don't because there's so many emotions right now. And making a lifelong decision is different. And in marriage, there's no walking back like so easily. It's not like, because if you come to us right now and you say, I am if the decision, if this was different and this man was saying, and you had said I do, and then you now find out he has children, the advice would be very different.
Yeah.
But the advice here is completely different because you have not said I do. So you do not owe him anything. You have not made a commitment where we're like,
apart from maybe his bride price.
To death do to death do us
I'm
part.
sorry.
But but she works. She can pay it back. So so I would just say take time out. Like, for me, if this was my daughter and she's 25, she's young. Yeah. Like, but you are very young. Yeah. Take time out. Yeah. I'm not even just put everything on pause. Just take time out.
But I think that
because you're gonna need to heal as well.
But I also understand, like, we've seen other stories, other dilemmas where, like, because let's say, in fact, the bride price is not even going to her, and let's say her family are the ones who are benefiting from the bride price, and now because they can't pay it back, and they're not seeing this thing as something that, because they're saying if we make a decision, it means we have to pay back. And they start basically now talking into our ear, just go forward with it. Just go forward with it. And I think that's bad. And I think some parents are like that. And I think because I don't know why people do that. Maybe because I don't know. Maybe it's also the other side of where we've glorified money so much to the point of where even on the bride price, maybe he was charged X amount of money. And then I think now, because now the money now becomes the center of the situation,
Yeah.
So now if we're now
now
paying
you're
back that,
struggling to
I'm,
pay
I'm
back.
struggling because now I've made an investment with that money, and it's basically you're selling your daughter off, and now that becomes a situation. And I think this is why sometimes there has to be also wisdom on the side of when these discussions are being had on bride price, because I think sometimes it becomes so too much to the point of even the people who are getting married, they're extorted so much to the point of where they're forgetting these two are getting married. And I think, as you are saying, these things also breed challenges in marriage, because somebody's feeling like I've been done wrong just to get married to you. And that now becomes an issue and say, oh, okay, no, she'll see when we get married. And I think that's a bad situation of how this bride price, it came as a good thing, but it's now become toxic. And I think that's another thing we also understand. Just because sin is in this world, things that are good things will always turn out to, the man will always use it for their benefit and not to glorify God. And that's the situation here. And also on top of that, we're saying as somebody who can deny his children, that should also give you a pause for thought and saying, if this guy can deny his children, next time he'll be denying he's got a wife.
It will be very easy. It's easy to deny you've got a wife.
And then going to now sleep around and tell other people.
Yeah.
And saying that's not a problem.
If you're going to deny your own flesh and blood.
There are even some people who actually they've got a wife at home and they're going to marry somebody else.
Yeah.
Have you seen those stories?
Yeah.
I'm saying like those people are shameful.
Yeah. But it's true, babe. If you're going to deny your own flesh and blood, your own children, who am I? Who am I? So who are you that he will not deny you?
Yeah. Yeah. So, so any final points that you want to add to this?
No, but just surround yourself with. I said no, but and then I start talking. Yes, some final points. In such a situation, we've talked so much, right? But it doesn't take away the fact that it's painful, and it doesn't take away the fact that the girl is hurting, and is experiencing so many emotions, regret, hurt, or probably experiencing these embarrassment, so many things. And if you need to cry. If you need time out from work to just cry, it's okay. Cry, because this is painful to be done like this. But you will heal.
Yeah.
You will heal. Surround yourself with people who love you, with people who are wise, people who are not pushing you to make decisions, who will listen to your cry, and people who will pray with you. If you're in a local church, talk to them about what you're experiencing. Let them guide you according to the word of God. Read your Bible. Pray to God every single day. Cry out to God and let him guide you and give you peace. Because even amongst all of this, God can still give you wisdom, can still grant you peace and healing in this process. And you will get through this. You will get through this. It's not going to feel like this forever. You will get through this, but time is also a great healer. Although people, we say it a lot, but it is true. So just surround yourself with lovely people, lovely company, whether it's friends, family, reading, watching stuff, and especially in prayer.
Yeah, and just like you're saying, we know it's going to be hard, but this is something that we also have to say we thank God that it's been revealed in this stage than in a stage where it's not. We're not saying it's not possible, but the complications will be much harder. And I think also just a point of advice again for somebody who are saying asking good questions. I think one of the good questions you also need to ask is, especially if somebody's a believer, go and ask a bit more about their church life, what church they go to, and see how much involved this person is in church, to the point of where to see that, because if somebody's involved in church and doing certain things, it's very easy for them now to also now find there's a track record of some people who know him. Because if you're now going to isolate your courtship as just one-on-one, it becomes very easy for you to hide certain things. But if you bring more people, especially people who've got more wisdom, especially I was saying, I assume, this is my assumption, I'm not saying everybody in church is wise. If you got elders in your church or leaders in your church, they'll have wisdom to ask more questions. And even through your, let's say, marriage counseling and everything like that, they'll ask the right questions to help you navigate these things. And I think maybe through this, we also need to understand, as if those processes have all been overlooked, but we also have to thank God that God did not overlook that process, to not allow you to go through a situation that can put you in a situation where you are put in a tough situation. So
Yeah.
So anything else?
No.
So thank you very much for listening to our episode of FWT Reacts, and thank you for taking the time to listen to the advice that we have. If you have any more advice on this topic, please add in the comments, or if anything that we've left out, please also comment. Thank you for the ones who are commenting, liking, and viewing. We're really encouraged by that. So thank you very much. And like we always say, like, subscribe, and
share.
And what else?
Yeah,
Follow.
that's it.
Follow. That's it. Yeah. So until next time, thank you very much, and take care, and God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.